Hello and welcome to the Wonky Spanner. I don't know what episode it is. Is it episode 4? I think we're on 4 or on 3. Episode 3, right?
Well, there was the pilot and then the two episodes, so four.
No, but the pilot was 0.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then three.
Anyway, welcome. We are missing, Mr. Chance, unfortunately. He's a busy man. So we won't be seeing him today, unfortunately, but we're going to talk about E3 today because we haven't, it's happened and we haven't really, talked about it yet. And lots of amazing news came out, don't you think?
Yeah.
So, I guess for me, the biggest thing, I've got to mention this first, above anything else, is Final Fantasy VII, because, my god, that was my childhood. It seriously was. From the age of, I don't know, 13 to 15, I religiously played that game. Did nearly everything in it. And it was just longest, best story ever. It was like four or five PS1 discs worth of game. It was crazy. Honestly, you had to swap the disc and the story was so good. It was so brutal. Some of it.
See, whenever I say this, everybody always wants to punch me, but I've never played a Final Fantasy game in my life.
But I think that's fine because how old are you now? If you don't mind me
21.
asking. You are
21.
21. Yeah. So really,
It wasn't huge. It wasn't huge when I got into gaming.
see, it was huge when I did, but
Yeah.
the thing is, Final Fantasy kind of had a few issues after Final Fantasy X. They made some questionable decisions, and the genre hasn't well, not the genre, but the series hasn't really I don't know, kind of reclaimed itself back from the depths of some really dodgy games.
Right.
But
So,
the up to about Final Fantasy X, I'd say, it was really loved.
right. So they're remastering it.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII came out in Jesus, I'll have to have a check actually. I think it was 98,
Right.
so it's that old.
Jesus.
Sorry if you can hear me typing. I'm just trying to check when it actually came out. But anyway, it is incredibly old, incredibly old. 1997, January the 31st. So that it's 18 years old. Right now, that game.
Right.
It was kind of one of the first-ish kind of 3D games. The character models were a bit dodgy, but the backgrounds were kind of artwork.
Right.
And the combat was kind of trying to find the best way to explain it. Combat would just happen automatic when you're walking around, and you'd go to this battle screen, and then you'd take it in turns to fight, and the enemy would fight you and things like that. And had a really complex kind of system where you got this stuff called materia, and you could level it up, and it gave you more powers, and it made your powers stronger and stuff. It was really I don't know, and it had this really cool Japanese epic tale that was just full of kind of a bit like Japanese anime kind of humor mixed in with an epic tale and death and betrayal and all
Right.
sorts of stuff.
Right.
So
Is
it
it?
was.
Would I be able to pick it up and play it?
Um,
Not knowing, the only thing I know about Final Fantasy is Advent Children. That's literally
mm,
that's what introduced me to the whole Final Fantasy thing. And that's
uh,
final. That's later on, isn't it? Than
yeah.
seven.
I mean, well, Final Fantasy. Basically, every Final Fantasy is its own unique story, generally.
Right. Okay.
So, 7, 8, 9 are all separate, completely different worlds, kind of stories.
Right.
Final Fantasy Advent Children was that was a film actually set after Final Fantasy VII, but in that universe.
Right.
But I did watch it, and as a massive fan of Final Fantasy VII, it was a bit lacking.
Right.
You can't really capture that anything from that game in a film, I don't think.
What, they made a film of it?
Advent Children was the Final Fantasy VII film. I think. Oh my god. Wait a minute. See, this is how much I remember the film. Like, yeah, it was...
I know there was a Final Fantasy film like where there was like some space creature and shit.
I think that was the other one, but for Final Fantasy VII Advent Children was the Final Fantasy VII film.
Okay.
So, and they've done games after it, like they did Crisis Core, which I think was alright. They did something about another character called Vincent at some point, which I think was alright. But to answer your original question, should you pick it up and play it? I don't know. I'd say I could pick it up now and play it, and I would love it. And I'd still replay it every few years. But would you... I don't know, it depends. If you'd be able to go into something that looked that kind of... I don't know, it doesn't look amazing. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
But, and it doesn't have any voice. It's all kind of like text. And there's a lot of text. But it is really, really good. I don't know. I think the fact they're doing a remake kind of... and the fact they've sort of said they're going to change it a bit to suit newer generations of players, which is a little bit concerning from my view, but might be necessary because, well, I don't know, I think the combat you could kind of modernize, but keep the same, if you know what I mean. Because the combat, you know, there's things they can improve on it, like the animations and the graphics and all sorts, but the basics of it I think they should keep. But it is like, I don't know, I would definitely suggest you trying it, and I think anyone listening should give it a go, because it's cheap. It's probably like £5 or £7 on Steam or something, I don't know. But it's hard to say, because this to me was such a formative, like, game for like my whole interest in gaming and my whole love of Japanese culture and cyberpunk and everything. Like, it all stemmed from that one game. Like, it had that much of an impact on me.
Right.
And I don't know if the magic will be lost on sort of newer generations, because at the time it graphically was all right. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was... You could be a lot more forgiving back then, because
of
was
course
kind of bad looking.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, interestingly, back then they had little cutscenes that were like, you know, amazing, sort of seen as amazing graphical cutscenes where they kind of create these, like, I don't know, these story little pieces with some of the action stuff in this like really beautiful 3D kind of thing called an FMV. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's a type of video they do. I think back then it was using what they then had as supercomputers to make like the most amazing graphical thing they could at the time.
Right. Okay.
Which they would just video. They wouldn't you wouldn't be able to play it. And that was one of the things with it. You'd have these FMV moments where they were really real big payoff because it would look beautiful and it would be, you know, add to the whole journey. But I don't know, man. If you like Japanese RPGs, if you like Japanese kind of, I don't know, like humor, and I don't know, like it has a very like strong link to, I suppose, stuff like Hiroshima. You know, the nuclear like missile that hit Hiroshima, and it has a lot of that vibe to it. Which is really ingrained in Japanese culture. You can see it through a lot of their anime, and you can see it through a lot of their games.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can maybe stop going on about it because I could sit and talk about it all day. And also, I mean, there's a lot of stuff I'm concerned with it in terms of them changing it too much. There's been a lot of jokes about the fact there's a scene where the main character dresses up as a woman. To get into this mansion place, and I think there's been a lot of humour, you know, across the internet of, are they actually going to put that in? But apparently they are. So that gives you a taste of the kind of Japanese humour there. You know, there's kind of quite an interesting ways of, you know, sort of passing missions and moving forward in the story, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'll probably end up playing it because I know that my partner will probably play it, so
Yeah,
I think I'll probably watch it and then pick it up if I do. But
for me, it's like one of the few I will buy this on day one
yeah,
games, and I will
because I
I'm
definitely want
incredibly
to
excited
try.
for it.
I definitely want to try Final Fantasy 15. So
Oh,
I know
we
it's
could
completely
segue into that.
yeah, it's going to be completely different compared, but when I saw on E3 last year.
Uh huh.
Oh no, it would have been a couple years ago because it was the E3 when it was the new gen consoles.
Uh huh.
And they showed a little bit of gameplay for that. It looked insane, like it looked really good. So because they've made it more into like a Kingdom Hearts
Oof. The
type
combat,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, and that sort of appeals to me a lot more than because it used to be all menu interface, and then they put it onto like turn based and
Yeah, that's where we'll. I like kind of more actiony combat as well, but I love the turn-based style of play that like older games had.
yeah, I hated it.
Did you?
Yeah, that's why I didn't ever pick it up when I could have.
The thing is I felt like Seven had something to it with the. It wasn't just the combat; it was the fact you could level up everything. You could level up basically your skills, which were these materia things, and all this kind of like amazing stuff. There was so much stuff you could grind out and like get rewards from, massive rewards that it just paid off a lot. But yeah, what are the main things then? So we'll move on from Final Fantasy 7 to 15 because I think that's a good segue. So what would you say? Are the main things you're looking forward about that, and what kind of where do you want it to go? What are your expectations?
I mean, I don't generally have any expectations for it, but the what I've seen of it, like visually, it's really nice. It looks stunning, and combat-wise, I really like the way it's like taken into account, like because I've made it so that you've got like your spell button, your attack button, your strong attack button, your item button.
Uh huh.
So they're sort of bridging away from the turn-based that it used to be, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I just like the fact that it looked a bit more like Kingdom Hearts, I guess.
Yeah.
Because that was the only other thing that I could really closely compare it to when I was younger playing. While looking
So
at both games,
so
so
you liked Kingdom Hearts as a child?
yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, I loved
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts. It was really good. But
Well,
and they're making a new one, which is going to be pretty awesome. So
I find that interesting because that's made by the same studio that make Final Fantasy.
yeah,
And like Kingdom Hearts was had like a lot of similarities to Final Fantasy, to be honest, but it was more action based.
yeah,
And I suppose I only played a bit of the first one. I couldn't get into it because I think I was a bit. I don't know whether I was too old or not, but the whole merging of Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters weirded me out a bit. But
yeah,
yeah, but I think if you enjoyed that, I think you may well enjoy the remake of Final Fantasy VII, and I'll stop. I keep going back to that because it's on my brain. But some of the things that I thought were really interesting about Final Fantasy 15, as you're saying, the graphics, but also they've got this theme of brotherhood in it. If you've noticed.
yeah,
And it's kind of this theme of like a road trip as well. I haven't got to play the demo, unfortunately, which came out on PS. Is it PS4? Yeah, PS4. If you got another Final Fantasy game, Type 0 or something.
yeah,
But from what I've seen, like it's kind of this idea of like a road trip with some friends, but it's kind of obviously a lot more like intense. Kind of all this stuff's happened, and you're the prince or something, and you've been kicked from home, and you're out on your own, and I don't know, your whole world's turned upside down. You're on the run, apparently they've made a lot of effort to make the characters kind of as you're walking about, they'll comment on things in the environment, or they will bring things up from the past, or all that kind of stuff. They're always talking and reacting to their environment, and having dialogue with you and stuff, which
Yeah.
I really liked. I thought that was really cool. I think the other thing they're doing is kind of more a survival aspect as well, where I think when you defeat monsters, you can get some food and you can make it at your campsite at night, and then it will give you certain stats the next day for the whole of the next day from eating that food that you cooked.
Yeah.
And it looks stunning. I mean, Final Fantasy in my mind seems to be heading back onto a path of finding itself. I'm hoping, because I mean, did you hear about the online game of Final
No.
Fantasy? Well,
Oh, yeah, I did. I was, I applied to get into the beta of it, but I didn't get in, unfortunately. But that looked alright, but that was turn-based again, wasn't it? The fighting
uh,
on it,
no, I
I
don't.
think.
No, I mean, no, I don't think it was. I mean, I played in the beta, I think, a while ago. But basically, I'll give you a little bit of a rundown of it because it's very interesting. I mean, this shows you the depths. The Final Fantasy genre kind of the lowest it got was, I mean, they had this series Final Fantasy 13 and all the sequels of and it wasn't well received. Let's just put it like that. I won't go into any more detail about that. But then they released Final Fantasy 14, which was an online game, and when they released that, it bombed so hard.
Right.
It really bombed. Everyone hated it. They hated it to hell. They hated that game so badly. And Square Enix, being Square Enix, decided we're not just going to can it. We're going to hide it away for a couple of years, and we're going to totally remake it and call it A Realm Reborn, and
Right.
restore people's faith in our brand. And they worked hard on it. They had a lot of community feedback and all this kind of stuff. And that game was re-released, and it was incredibly popular. It came out and it was very, very popular. It's not my sort of game, but they definitely sort it out. And not many game studios would go all the way back. Most would can an MMO that failed. That is
Yeah.
a lot of money, an MMO, especially if you don't get your projected funds for it. Most companies are like, that is going on the trash heap. We've got to do something else. But these guys are literally like, we're gonna redo it. I don't know whether that's stubborn pride, whether it's some people have argued it's perhaps a cultural thing with Japan about pride and about I don't know, proving your worth. So going back and gaining back their honor, I suppose, on it. I don't know whether it's a cultural thing or not, but they did seem to do that, and they have seemed to acknowledge that Final Fantasy's gone wrong. So that's pretty interesting, I suppose, where that franchise is going. Do you think we talked enough about Final Fantasy? I'd say we probably have.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I could talk about Final Fantasy VII for ages. It's probably good there isn't anyone on this show apart from me that loves it that much, because that would probably take over the whole show. Because I was literally if you watch some of the videos of people that watch that reveal, there's people crying. It's seriously a big deal to a lot of people. That's kind of sad, really, but no, it's true. It's a big childhood memory for a lot of people. So yeah, especially people my age.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm now 27, pushing 28, and I played that game when I was 12, 13 or something, and it was it was amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to shut up about that now. So I suppose the next thing we could talk about is Battlefront. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh my god, it looks absolutely amazing. I was creaming when I fucking saw that. Oh god, it just looks so good.
God, dodgy expression and a half.
Like it just looks so good because like I used to play that so much when like it was out on the PlayStation.
Did you?
Yeah, like I was always on it, and the fact that they made it so that you can go third person or first person was really nice because that was one thing I was curious as to whether they did.
See,
But graphically, like it just looked amazing, and like I always said that they should revamp Battlefront and get it taken by Infinity Ward back when Modern Warfare first came out, because Modern Warfare was sort of like the defining first-person shooter genre.
Ooh, questionable. Very
But
questionable.
well,
Half-Life.
multiplayer.
No, that was Half-Life.
I don't know, but then some people say that it was that James Bond game. I forgot what it was.
GoldenEye.
Yeah,
I suppose there's lots of little bits. I mean, Doom was the
yeah,
first 3D shooter.
yeah,
GoldenEye was a big deal. Like, it was a really big deal when that came out. I mean, Half-Life was the beginning of online multiplayer. Like, when there were loads of mods for that game online and loads of stuff. That was the beginning. But I suppose Battlefield, you know, the company DICE released the Battlefield games, and there was Modern Warfare, which brought FPSs to the major mainstream. Like, that was a big change
That's
in the
what I
market.
meant. Like, it blew up the market for it,
Mm.
and Halo 3 coming out at the same time as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I always wanted them to get hold of Battlefront and redo it. But then I got into Battlefield, and I was like, oh my god, if Battlefield, like if DICE actually made a Battlefield version of fucking Star Wars, it'd be insane. And then they announced that they were, and I was just going crazy over it. Like it looks so good, and they've. Did you see the gameplay footage of it?
Yeah, I did on half.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
it
Yeah.
was insane.
I'm pleased they got a lot of the little things in, like you can trip up the AT-AT walkers like by spinning around them in a, was it an A-wing? I can't remember what they're called now.
X-wing.
No, like they had like I don't know if they're called. No, it's not. Is it an A-wing? I know they have those like ships, those snow ships that they have a
Oh
cable.
yeah,
And they,
yeah,
like,
it is the A-wing.
oh, okay, yeah, like that. Like that's been a lot of games in the past, like Rogue Squadron and like Shadows of the Empire, which is a really underrated game. Which I'm surprised they haven't released on good old games at all yet. That was amazing, that game. Anyway, moving on. And it looks amazing. It looks amazing. It does look absolutely amazing. I missed out on Battlefront. Was it Battlefront 2, and
Yeah.
the first one? I don't know why I missed out on it.
They were so good. They were
I'm-
amazing. I loved them.
See, I'm ashamed that I missed them because I loved Battlefield and I am the biggest Star Wars nerd ever. So
Yeah.
I don't know how I did that.
I mean, like I love the fact as well that you can go into cockpit view on the X-wing, and the fact that when they announced it, they said that they went to the studios at LucasArts and took like exact copies of everything there. Like it just looked amazing. Like when in the gameplay, you were in the TIE fighter cockpit chasing after the X-wing, going through like the mountain bit. Oh, it was just insane. I was so happy. And then the whole AT-AT, and oh, it just looks so good. I can't wait for it. But like people were slugging it off, saying, "Oh,
about the space battles."
no, I was more getting it when they were saying about they're missing some vehicles, and like some of the vehicles that are coming out, like, and that not all of the maps are going to be on there, and
DLC.
yeah, that's it. Like it is DICE, it is EA. They're gonna do what they're gonna do what they did with like Battlefront, Battlefield, and all that, and get like a premium out probably. But people are gonna pay for it because that's the thing. Like when you look at Battlefield 4, like they fucked up on release, but the amount of DLC that came out for it and the amount of like just sheer bonus stuff that you get from the DLC makes it well worth it, because it's pretty much like compared to the other games out at the moment, it's pretty much like an extra two games that you're getting through DLC.
I don't, I don't agree. I mean,
Yeah.
I, from my experience playing, I played a lot of the Battlefield games was it the first one, Battlefield 1942? I think it was.
I think it was, yeah.
So I played from that. And back then, instead of having DLC, you'd have an expansion. I know Bad Company and was it Battlefield 94? No, I don't know. But I know that Bad Company 2 had the Vietnam expansion, right?
Yeah.
And I think 1942 did, but I might be wrong. And you got quite a lot of maps on that, but it wasn't the same as DLC. DLC, the way that the Battlefront 4 did it, and Battlefield 3, like, it was very nickel and diming people, I felt.
Yeah.
Yes, like, they can milk Star Wars, yeah, if I get it, I'll probably invest in all that, but all this kind of, you get a season pass and all that kind of rubbish, it just feels a bit cheap and a bit money grabbing, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I see what you're saying, and loads of people say that, but at the end of the day, like, it is, like, it's the gaming industry, and, like, it's EA, so yeah, they're a massive, massive company, and they own DICE and all these other little sub-companies, but, like, at the end of the day, you're getting, like, ridiculously good content, so I see the justification for it personally. I've never had that much of a problem with it.
It depends, like, if it comes out as broken as Battlefield 4 was, which it might do because
I don't think it will. I think they learned a lesson with Battlefield 4.
I hope they have, because to be perfectly honest, I'm excited for this game, don't get me wrong, I'm very, very excited, but I'm a little bit concerned that it might not have been in development for that long, and they're
What,
gonna push it
Battlefront?
out. Battlefront, yeah.
It's been in development for ages. I remember seeing there was a leaked footage of.
No, that wasn't that they were developing one. Another company were developing one.
No, it was EA.
Okay, I don't know. Like, how long has it been in development? Because I'm sure it's only been in development like a year and a half.
No, I think it's been in development like 3 or something.
But when did Lucas announce that he was selling LucasArts to Disney? Because they
That
wouldn't have been working on it before that. I wouldn't have thought, and that was only what, a year or two ago.
uh yeah.
I mean, benefit of the doubt. Let's say I'd say maybe a year and a half it's been in development. Because if you think about
It's been in they announced it. Oh right, okay. EA obtained the rights in May 2013.
okay, so it's been about 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and was it coming out November? Yeah, November.
Yeah, November.
So it would have been 2.5 years in development. That's okay.
Yeah.
Could be alright.
I mean, are they using the new Frostbite engine for it? I think they are.
It might be.
Because they offer Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I would have thought they would have for this. But I think what they're gonna do is they're gonna like they do with Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, like they're gonna make it so that it's a game that you play for ages and ages and ages and ages. Like instead of a game that you buy and then you just play for like half a year and then don't play again through having all of the DLC and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think DLC can be. Maybe I just got bored of the more recent Battlefield games. I mean, um, I felt they just stopped doing something that I loved. That they used to do, in Bad Company 2 on the
Right.
PC. They had seriously destructible environments. Like, if I wanted to walk through that building, I didn't have to walk through a door. I'd get a rocket launcher, blow the wall, blow the next wall, and walk right through. Like, that was amazing, and you could literally sit and blow up a building and make it fall down. That was cool. Whereas
Yeah.
I felt in the newer ones, like, although they talked about destructibility, it was kind of it wasn't as impactful. They kind of lessened the amount you could destroy.
Yeah, they made it so that you can turn the whole map into rubble, I guess, but
Which is a
I,
shame.
I don't think it is a shame
I do. I
because
missed that.
the amount of like I don't know, I just feel like that would like if you're in a multiplayer game and you've got people firing RPGs left, right, and center and mortar strikes and stuff like that, like you're just gonna have a leveled environment straight away.
Well,
So
no, because like it worked on Bad Company too. Like the maps were big enough that you wouldn't like it would just make you feel like there'd been a war. Like, you had to work pretty hard to like make that the building fall down.
yeah, I guess.
I see what you
I
mean,
mean,
but
I
I
like
like.
the destructibility that they've got in Battlefield 4. Personally,
Mm,
I don't think it's like because I think it can get to the point where it's just over the top and
yeah, but I'm a drama queen, so
yeah.
uh,
There we go.
never mind.
It's going to
Um,
be interesting to see how it is in Battlefront, actually.
yeah, I mean, I think the whole idea of getting to like be there on the planet and like on Hoth or Tatooine or whatever and
Mm.
have a battle with your friends as well, because I think they're gonna have like similar to the squad system in Battlefield 4 or whatever Battlefield it was. So you're gonna be able to spawn on your friends and kind of like move together and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And I think it'd be really fun. Like I'd love to play with you and like Chance and various people I know like who love Star Wars. It would just be amazing.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't really know what else to say about Battlefront. I mean, is it releasing with how many maps? Is it 4 different locations?
Um, I don't know.
I think it's only 4
Uh,
locations, which is quite minimal.
yeah,
Um, a minute. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll see what happens. I mean, if they release with a decent amount of content, that's fine. I am a little bit suspicious that they won't bring a lot, basically.
yeah,
Um, that's what I'm concerned about. They are ignoring the old Star Wars films and only setting it in. I think the kind of old trilogy films. I think,
yeah,
which is cool. I think that's cool. Um, so yeah, we'll stop there. Do you reckon for Battlefront?
yeah. Let's go.
Cool. Unless there's anything you want to say.
No, fun.
Okay. So what about? I think we should talk about Fallout 4, even if you're not following it that much, because this is probably the biggest thing at E3. I would have
Yeah,
said.
they said that it won it, didn't they?
Yeah, like this is probably the game most people are talking about. And I'm kind of excited for it. Um, I mean, I think they've released all sorts of really random stuff that I didn't expect in the game.
Right.
For a start, you can build bases and change the whole terrain, which
Really?
well, you can't change. I don't know if you can actually change the terrain, like the actual levels of the terrain or anything like that. But you can build your base out of things you find in the world, and you can create a base that you defend with, like, you get like a generator, and you can like charge things up with electricity, all that kind
Right.
of stuff.
Because I thought it was before the war happened.
No, I think what happens is from watching the trailer, you start off before the war,
Right.
and I think the beginning is you and your wife and child, like, you're sort of in your house, and then like there's a like for the fallout is going to happen, and like you're running to like the fallout shelter, and there's a big explosion, and then you go down into the fallout, like shelter, um, and I don't know what happens in there because they don't tell you, but somehow the main character that you choose at the beginning, who can be male or female, will come out of the vault alone sometime in the future, and I'm guessing it's quite a way forward in the future. So there's probably something to do with cryogenic freezing or something crazy like that, because I don't think it's set immediately after all of that.
Right. Okay.
Somehow, I think everyone dies, including his wife and child. I don't know if they do, but I'm of the impression that's what happens.
Oh, okay. I might have to have a look at it because, like, I did like Fallout 3, but then Fallout New Vegas, I sort of felt was a lot like Fallout 3 in
I preferred
aspects.
New Vegas.
Oh no, I preferred Fallout 3 to New Vegas. I thought it was a lot deeper.
Yeah, I think it was. I think they were two different games, two different types of gamer. I mean, I think Fallout 3 was quite deep, whereas Fallout New Vegas was like it was less deep but had lots more to do.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. Like there were lots of cool little things you could do, but it wasn't as like I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, as deep. Like there were quite a few deep storylines in Fallout 3.
mm.
And it, it had its own. They both had their own magic, and they're both quite different, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I looked briefly at like the character customization on like the face, on like your appearance and stuff, and it's pretty in depth, which is nice.
It's a lot better than Fallout 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Start 3 in New Vegas. Because I tried replaying Fallout New Vegas on the PC a couple of weeks ago, and I like installed mods to make it look better. But the character models, like the face, choosing your face and stuff, is wow. It's really dated.
Yeah.
But it does. It looks really good, doesn't it? Graphically, it looks absolutely beautiful.
But I felt like I don't know though, because I look at it and then I look at Skyrim and I'm like, wow, Skyrim looks tons better than this, and Skyrim's older.
Seriously?
Yeah, I've always felt like the Fallout games look a lot outdated. Like they don't look outdated, but they look dated when they come out.
I think the problem with that is that it seems like they. I don't know if they're making Fallout 4 on the same engine as Skyrim, but they did the same thing with with Fallout 3 in New Vegas. They came out, I think, on the same engine as Oblivion,
Right.
and I don't know whether Fallout 4 is on the Skyrim engine, but if it is, it's the same problem. It's gonna feel dated because it's on a Skyrim now. Like it looks okay, but it's not
Yeah.
that great anymore in looks, and I don't know. I mean, I thought Fallout 4 looked quite good, but I don't know. I haven't studied it in enough depth. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't look as good as a game like the new Assassin's Creed looks amazing, in the way it looks.
I didn't see how that looked. I mean, the one in France looked pretty nice, like visually, but I think that was the only thing that was really going for it.
Well, yeah, I've got that. I haven't played it yet. I mean, I've been waiting anyway for a while with that because that game had its own problems. It hardly worked on most computers when it came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to Fallout, I don't know. I thought the graphics were alright actually, but I don't. I mean, I really don't know how they compare really to other graphics nowadays. I mean, I just haven't seen enough of it, I suppose.
Yeah. Is there a new? Is there like a follow-up to Skyrim coming out anytime soon? Was that announced in Bethesda's
No,
thing? Or?
that'll come out a few years time.
Mm.
It won't be anything soon because they tend to do they've got into this swing of doing like Fallout and then Elder Scrolls and Fallout and then lots of random games in between that aren't as good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can you think of like any other like amazing Bethesda game apart from the Elder Scrolls or Fallout?
No.
There's been loads like of games, but like they're not good.
Yeah. Just I feel like they're just tests for the main games.
Yeah, I think they had a game called Wet. Did you remember hearing about that?
No.
I can't remember what it was about. It was rubbish. I think it was a combat game or something, but it was absolutely rubbish. Yeah, they don't seem to do much apart from those games, really.
Mm.
You can see why. I mean, they're pretty in depth,
Yeah, of course.
so I guess it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think Fallout looks really good. I think they actually have base building, which is absolutely amazing. I think that's really cool.
Is there like a multiplayer on it?
No, there won't be. Or at
Right.
least they haven't announced it.
So you build a base for yourself.
Yeah, because NPCs will come and attack it.
Right. Okay.
And you can build stuff out of anything you find. So, all those useless pieces of junk you'd always pick up, like I don't know, like empty cans and all sorts. Like you'll be able to build them into things and use the scrap metal for stuff.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. It's like a seriously in-depth building aspect. You'd be
Nice.
surprised. Like I think everyone listening and you as well should like check it out. It's pretty in depth.
Yeah, I looked at a couple screenshots of the trailer, and it does look actually pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. It
Yeah,
looks better than I thought it was gonna look.
I think the other thing I'm looking forward to is the thing I'm hoping about is it looks like you might be able to actually travel in vehicles,
Right.
maybe airships. I don't know whether that's more what was in the like in the modern past. Maybe that maybe that's just a little short thing about the beginning of the game, or maybe you can like fly these things later on. I don't know, but that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Hmm. I'll have to have a look at it.
I mean, I'd say my biggest problem with Fallout has been that I kind of felt that there's a bit of a disconnect with. I felt there's all these cool ideas, but they don't never fully realized.
Right.
Did you ever get that feeling?
Um. I don't know. I mean, I've always been satisfied when I've played Fallout, like Fallout 3 in New Vegas. Like, I was satisfied, but there was nothing that really stood out that I thought, oh, they should have done this.
See, what about the Brotherhood of Steel? Because I never felt that was fully fleshed out.
They were the guys in
Yeah,
the big armor. Yeah, yeah. They didn't really seem that important, really. Like, well, they seemed important, but there wasn't really anything on them. It
yeah,
was
they
just
seemed
like,
important and a big deal, but then they weren't a big deal or important.
yeah, that's it. Like, they're these guys with this massive fucking suit of armor. Yeah, you hardly really know anything about them, and they only really crop up in like the mid game, and they don't really matter.
I mean, I think they had a bigger like story like section in like Fallout 2, but I didn't play it. I have got them. I might try them, but
Hmm.
I just don't know if I can like put myself into like games that old anymore. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
even possible now. Um. Okay. Cool. Should we finish there on Fallout? Because I think that's probably about it for Fallout. Unless there's anything you want to say about it. Any final words?
No, not really.
Okay. Um. Was there anything else then that you wanted to talk about from E3? I mean, what about Mirror's
Mirror's Edge
Edge?
Catalyst. Oh my god.
So
I'm
tell me what Mirror's Edge is about, because I've never played
uh,
it.
okay, so basically, in the first Mirror's Edge, you play as like a free runner, and there's been like a massive war. Um, and there was like a divide of people that wanted to basically give away all their privacy in order to have like an easier life, and people that didn't want that.
Hmm.
So it sort of runs along with the whole current situation of like the NSA and all of that. Um, and basically, in order for information to be like securely passed around that wasn't sort of caught on by the establishment, you'd have free runners running around giving packages to people, and it was basically focused on this one main guy, and he was sort of running the show, and it seems like they've gone along the same sort of rhetoric this game, where it's Kruger that runs the show, and you just basically end up having to take him down. Um, so it's pretty simple in that respect, but that's the main backbone of it, is that you're getting information securely from one place to another, and you're technically an outlaw because of what you're doing. So the fact that they don't know what you're sharing is an offense. So
Okay.
the free runners have to live like only together, isolated away from everybody else, etc. But I mean, with this one, they're doing quite a big thing because they've made it so there's no levels and there's no missions. So it's
Totally
all
open world.
yeah, it's completely open world, which I'm crazy happy for because that's the one thing I thought that they could have done in the previous one, and it looks stunning. Like the first game that came out was absolutely stunning, like in comparison to the other games at the time.
I've just realised I've got a copy of it on Steam, but I haven't actually played it.
Oh man, it's so good. Like, and like his first person, it's really immersive because you you're like free running and
It's
I don't
quite
know.
colourful.
Yeah, well, it's colorful in the in a sense, but it's not because everything's white. But
Yeah.
it's a really clean looking game. And it's a fun game that you can just come back to. Um, and in this one, there's loads of different little things to do, like time trials and like obviously there's missions that
Uh-huh.
like you have to do this, like you can do this, but it's not like an enforced linear thing, as opposed to the first Mirror's Edge where you had to sort of do the next level.
Yeah.
Like there's no loading screens and things like that, so you get to choose what you do. Um, but yeah, like definitely check out the gameplay of it, and like it looks really nice, really really nice, and I'm so happy for it because when the first one came out, like when it was finished, there was this massive Mirror's Edge like online conspiracy thing, and it was a conspiracy as to whether there would be a second game, and there was like all these fake websites that Dice created, and
Oh, brilliant.
like it was just so good. It was so good, and there was loads of people that were into it, and everybody was like, "Oh no, there's not going to be another Mirror's Edge coming out," because like a lot of people thought they had flopped, but then like everybody was on this like conspiracy thing, and it was like, "Oh, we believe." It was brilliant, and so the fact that it's a reality now is brilliant.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I need to like. I
Definitely
don't know. I
play
need to
it.
give it a go. Like, what would you recommend it to everyone listening then?
Um, yeah, I would. Everybody
Cool.
that I know that's played it has enjoyed it, so I definitely recommend it. Yeah,
Oh, I'll give it a go.
it's really chill, and it's funny as well because the soundtrack to it is by this ambient artist called Solar Fields,
Okay.
and he's a Swedish guy. And I was
Like
actually
electronic.
sort of yeah electronic ambient, um, and it really fits the game style. And
Cool.
hopefully he'll be doing the same this soundtrack for this new one as well. Be quite interesting to see because I was listening to him before the game came out, so then the game came out and was using it. I was like, oh wow, nice.
Yeah, you see,
So
I'm sort of I like. Do you ever find music like you relate music to certain games you play?
yeah,
Like I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I have certain artists that remind me of League, for example, or remind me of like I don't know, like Final Fantasy as well. Like there's some very
yeah,
memorable songs in that. Yeah. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I mean that's that. Mirror's Edge and Battlefront were the main things I was looking for in E3. I like the new Tomb Raider. That looks really nice.
oh, I haven't really seen much on that. I played like the kind of reboot game that they made, and I thought that was all right.
Yeah,
I didn't complete it,
it
but
was alright. That was all it was, really.
yeah, I mean, it was. I think I could have finished it if I don't know. It just didn't interest me enough, but it was okay. What I mean, what excites you about the new one? Because it's a direct sequel, right?
Yeah, it feels more like the classic Tomb Raiders, in like the puzzles and the just like how it sort of feels and the things that you're doing. Like you're going to this like lost ancient world that shouldn't exist, that doesn't exist but exists, and there's all these sort of traps and all the good stuff that was in like the original Tomb Raiders. Unfortunately, there's not a butler that you can lock in a freezer, but
Damn it! Dreams and hopes shattered.
yeah, but I don't know. It looks really nice. Like there's like the cinematics and the
Yeah.
gameplay are like all together. Like they're just one and another. They're completely the same. It's insane how like graphically pleasing it is. The gameplay was really nice, like at the beginning where they're climbing up the mountain and shit. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
I like the concept of it. I mean, I've been getting a bit into games of that style. Like, I've been trying to play. I've been trying to give Assassin's Creed a good go, actually, because I talked about it quite negatively on our last episode. I
Right.
think. I've given it a bit more time, and I've played a few more of them. And in terms of that kind of playstyle, that exploration playstyle, and free running, which kind of mixes a bit of Mirror's Edge in there as well, there's something to be said for it.
Mm.
Something to be said for those kind of games. Tomb Raider, even some of the the ones just before the reboot, I quite liked them. There is that feeling of those games of exploration and wonder, isn't there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's quite exciting. Explore.
Yeah.
Just anything
it's
specific.
it's Square Enix again, isn't it? Actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, they're doing better as a company.
Yeah, I was just looking as well because I was looking around for a Sleeping Dogs 2 game if it would be announced in E3, but it wasn't. But it looks like there's a new game coming out called Triad Wars, which is a spin-off from them both. So,
Oh. Well, they're
but
doing.
I'd love a Sleeping Dogs 2. That was an amazing game.
Who did Deus Ex?
Huh?
Who did Deus Ex?
I don't know. Was that Square Enix?
Yes, it was. I just found out. Yes, Square Enix did Deus Ex, and there is a new Deus Ex coming out.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Holy
Square Enix.
crap! Did you see anything on that?
No, I didn't. To be fair, I didn't even complete the other.
I know, I got
Deus
bored of
Ex.
it. I like
Yeah,
the
me
idea
too. Yeah.
behind it, but the original one was amazing. But I don't know, that the Human Revolution one, it was kind of fun, and then it just kind of felt a bit, I don't know, just kind of samey.
Yeah, I got bored of it.
I think the thing I hated about it was this whole golden sheen to everything all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, it was a bit of an eyesore after a while.
It was a bit like Fallout 3 in that sense, because it's what I like about Fallout 4. There's this kind of more colourfulness to it.
Yeah.
I think they've realised after seeing all the mods people have made that people want it to be a bit more colourful and feel a bit more lifelike. And I think it's a shame that the new Deus Ex, they've kind of keeping that sort of orange glow.
Mm.
I don't know why they're doing that, to be honest. Because it limits what you kind of, how you connect with the world. If it's kind of like, do people really want to play a game in Instagram? Like, I don't know. I don't get it, to be honest. It's very, very odd. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, why is everything goddamn gold?
Yeah. It was a bit off-putting in the last one that was released. It doesn't look too bad though, this new one.
Well, what I found funny was like in the one, but the other one that came out, Human Revolution, right? They made this whole big deal about the mechanics of the original game. Like, you're gonna be able to make your own way to get anywhere. Like, you can go through vents, you can like find your own way to like complete the mission and not kill anyone, all that stuff.
Mm.
And yet, the only video I've seen of the new one is you basically having a massive firefight. And I was like thinking, well, like they're not really like focusing on all the other things you could do.
There is a bit of stealth though, isn't it?
Is there?
Yeah.
So I watched the first bit and was like, oh, it's a shooter. Not that shooters are bad, but like Deus Ex, I don't know, shooter isn't what I would think would be first that comes to mind.
Right.
I don't know. Whatever, it's too orange. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
It is pretty
yellow.
orange.
It's just too yellow, man. That's it. That's all I'm saying on the matter. I'm done.
It's too
done
orange.
now, man. I don't know what else to say about it, but it's orange and yellow. There's just nothing else. No, it might be good. It could be good.
Could be.
I'm not holding my breath because like I wasn't that impressed with the last one. It was alright, but it just wasn't
As amazing as people knew that.
No. It's a bit
Yeah.
like Watch Dogs. Like, I tried Watch Dogs and got bored of it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
It's
I
like, oh,
didn't.
why did I waste money on that?
I didn't even bother with it. Like, I was really excited for it, and then I was like, I saw people playing it. I was like, okay, I'm not buying that.
Yeah, like, this is what's had me so excited with E3 though, is that I'm just gonna do a bit of a general point about E3 this year because, like, I think it needs to be said. At least, like, this is from my opinion. Like, I've been following gaming for a long time, and the last few E3s and the last 2 years of games for me personally have been pretty disappointing.
Yeah,
Like, I have literally played like one game mainly. Like, well, not one game mainly, but I played League for like the last couple of years, like as my main game for quite a while.
yeah,
And I haven't felt there's been much that's single player that's really grabbed me. And this E3 is like, for me, it's like shock after shock after shock. You've got my most beloved game of all time, Final Fantasy VII. A new Fallout, which you know is going to be, I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be a massive time sink. You've got Battlefront to play with your friends. Fallout 4 and Battlefront are both coming out in November.
mm.
It's going to be such a good month. That's going to be like you and your mates going, yeah, let's go kill some stormtroopers 1 minute, and then you'll be like, I'm going to have some time on my own in the, post-apocalyptic universe. I'll see you guys in a bit to kill some more stormtroopers. And like, I don't know, there's so many cool things. Like, it seems the year of bringing back kind of these amazing games from my childhood as well. They've got there's been a Kickstarter for a game called Shenmue 3. Now, a lot of people might not have heard of this, but Shenmue was probably like the biggest title for the Dreamcast, which was Sega's last console that kind of flopped.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons it flopped was because actually they invested nearly all their money into this game. Which they had Shenmue and Shenmue 2, and it's absolutely loved those games. And you might be able to pick them up actually somehow. I think how you could pick them up. I think they came out for the Xbox as well, at least Shenmue 2. But regardless, those games, that, I don't know, like, a lot of people may not have heard of it, but that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. It looked like it was going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
There was a lot of chatter about it.
It is for, like, I don't know, like, for old school gamers, it means quite a lot. Cause, like, people have been wanting Shenmue 3 for, like, a long time. Like, a really, really long time. And there's been a lot of rumours about it for years. The same way a Final Fantasy VII Remake, and to see them both happen this year is a big deal.
Yeah.
So hopefully, like, get, Kasey enjoying some Final Fantasy VII at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
The modern Final Fantasy VII.
Possibility.
Yeah. So I'm just having a little look down our list. Stuff. Is there anything else, really, that we can talk about from E3 that, I don't know, has kind of caught your eye?
Not particularly.
Like, I mean, for me, that is probably it. I mean, Assassin's Creed, the new one, looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, I didn't actually see that.
It's set in London in the Victorian times.
Yeah, I heard.
Which is kind of cool.
I just don't trust Ubisoft now.
Why? What did they do to you?
I just don't feel like they. I don't know.
Explain.
I don't feel like their content is that great.
Is there a reason for that?
Well, Assassin's Creed Unity was a bit of a flop.
That's the French one you're on about. You were like, oh, it looks quite good.
Yeah,
or did you just mean it looks good and that's
it? It literally just looks nice. But
have you played it?
Yeah.
What was so bad about it? Was it was it actually the story was crap, or like what did you like about it? It was
just really loose. Like, it wasn't grabbing. Like, there wasn't.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't understand the Assassin's Creed franchise because I've been playing some of them, and I do like some of them, and they have like they've got all these elements of like this could be a really good story.
Yeah.
But there's something missing, and like this combat's really good, but then it's actually too easy, or like this game looks beautiful, but
I
it
don't know.
feels
Like, I
soulless.
just look at it and then
I
I'm
don't know.
like, I look at it and then I look at The Witcher and I'm like, oh my god, The Witcher is like so far ahead.
The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
I thought it was alright. I kind of got bored of it, actually.
Uh,
What about you? Have you got it?
yeah, I've not played it that much. I mean,
I've played it, but I did like it. I just kind of...
I played it up to the part where you have to go fight the Griffin, and then I didn't bother going fighting the Griffin. I just turned it off and went to sleep,
Yeah.
and then I didn't pick it back up. It's not that I don't know. I'm not
Yeah.
able to invest time that much into it.
Yeah, I don't know. I invested a bit of time. I got past that bit. I just,
That's
I
like
don't
really
know.
early, so
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good game. There's something about the universe I can't get into. I
yeah.
tried, but I don't know. It is good. I can see why people like it. But yeah. But oh, I got a couple of things to mention as well, sort of towards the end of the podcast. So we are going to be at Manchester Comic Con in... What are we on now? We're going to be in Manchester Comic Con in a month, 25th to 26th. So there's going to be, like, hopefully going to be some video content for people to watch and see. Because I'm going to go down with some guy with a video camera. So that could be good. I'm going to try and get some interviews. So I haven't got, like... I haven't got loads of news on what games companies are going to be there. I know Riot Games is going to be there, who made League of Legends.
Why didn't they go to the London one, or did they? Oh, they
They
did.
probably did.
Yeah, they did go there because there was a tournament there, wasn't there?
Yeah. What else? I know that... What else is going to be there? They did have something up about Square Enix being there. Talk about Type Zero, but I don't know whether that was a mistake that they had that up, because it's not up anymore. So there hasn't been a lot released about what game stuff's going to be there, but we will be covering it anyway. Yeah, so there will be content coming out about that during that month, but I think we've got another podcast or two to come before then.
Yeah.
And also there might be some new... I need to have a chat with Kasey, actually, about a few things to do with the podcast in the future, and Chance to see what they think about it changing format.
Okay.
I haven't actually told you about. I haven't told Chance about, so I'll keep that up in the air. I'll tell you about it later, Kasey, but I'll keep that up in the air for people to have a guess about.
Okay.
And like, if people want to comment like your guesses on it, go for it, because I've got a few things in the works to kind of expand things a bit more and kind of mix things up a bit. So
Okay.
watch this space.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so like there should be a lot of content coming soon, and on the site as well. There's all sorts of stuff from London Comic Con. I mean, I'm probably telling you a little bit late, really, because we ended up waiting till this week to do the podcast, really, because of E3, because we wanted to kind of try and cover stuff from that. So,
Yeah.
but there's all sorts of stuff from London Comic Con and all sorts of things, really. So, and a few reviews that I can see one now on Jurassic World, which I really want to see. Have you seen it?
Not yet, no.
I really want to see that.
Our cinemas recently got an IMAX screen put in, so I'm gonna go watch it in that.
Nice.
Yeah, IMAX Jurassic World, let's go, baby.
Well, I love Jurassic Park. That was classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know really. I will probably I think that's everything really for today. I mean, is there anything else you want to add about E3? Because I went off on my little rant about how amazing this year was, but I mean, what about you? Have you got anything you want to end it on?
No, not particular. I think all's been said and done.
All's been said and done.
Yeah.
Sins have been spoken. Cool. Okay then. Well, we'll end it there, but I'll do my best. We'll do our best, hopefully, to get another podcast out in a couple of weeks, and we should have Chance back for that.
Wait.
So that'll be good. And you can hear him sort of jumping around like a 4-year-old about Battlefront, because he's probably the most excited about it out of everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, watch this space anyway, because I have got a lot of new ideas for content and things and ways of getting information about stuff from us and getting to know us all a bit better. Like, I'm not going to go into any more because I'm giving it away. So we'll end it there. So thanks very much. It's been great, doing the podcast today. And if you've got any comments, please leave some, because let us know if we're doing anything rubbish, if we're doing anything good, because we'd like to improve on stuff. And I know we can sometimes be a bit disorganised in our show structure, and I'm hoping today was a little bit better in terms of that, but it's a work in progress, so. But, we live and we learn. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking, and I will leave you to whatever you guys are doing out there in the world. Have fun. Bye from me.
See ya.
Bye.